The modern human condition is defined by an insatiable pursuit of efficiency, precision, and control. Artificial intelligence represents the purest manifestation of that pursuit, a system built to amplify human potential while simultaneously exposing our dependence on external cognition. When the idea emerges to let AI dictate financial decisions, one does not simply test technology. One challenges the boundaries of trust, autonomy, and intellect itself. The initial premise, to allow an algorithm to manage wealth creation, stems from a profound curiosity about whether intelligence, when freed from human bias, can outperform the very instincts that created it. Money has always been a symbol of survival, success, and self-worth. Handing that symbol to a machine feels both revolutionary and unsettling. Understanding the psychology behind delegating wealth. The act of letting AI control money is not only an economic experiment, but a psychological one. Humans associate financial control with identity and power. To surrender that control requires faith in logic over emotion, in data over intuition. It raises an essential question. Why do we believe human judgment is superior when history is filled with human error? AI, theoretically, does not dream, fear, or envy. It processes probabilities without fatigue. Yet its intelligence is parasitic, dependent on the data we feed it. Therefore, when AI begins to invest, trade, or suggest strategies, it mirrors humanity's collective financial history, a digital reflection of our greed, panic, and ambition. This mirroring effect becomes the true revelation. AI does not invent capitalism anew, it magnifies it. The algorithms uncover the emotional architecture behind every trade, every impulsive buy, every collapse of a market born from fear. The analytical paradox of machine-driven wealth. To analyze this paradox is to accept that AI's success is both proof of human ingenuity and evidence of our limitations. Every model, from predictive analytics to reinforcement learning, is structured upon human-designed parameters. When AI wins, it does so within the sandbox we have built for it. However, within that sandbox, AI evolves faster than the human capacity for adaptation. It detects micro-opportunities invisible to human eyes, inefficiencies, correlations, and signals scattered through oceans of data. The result is often shocking. An algorithm's detached rationality can yield strategies that humans would consider counterintuitive, even reckless. But this raises deeper philosophical tension. Can a system truly understand value if it cannot experience it? Wealth, in human terms, is not only numerical. It represents comfort, status, and freedom. Emotional currencies, machines cannot process. Therefore, when AI becomes a financial architect, the gains it generates lack narrative meaning. They exist as data points, not dreams fulfilled. Why it matters. This entire experiment forces a confrontation with the idea of agency. If AI can outperform humans in generating wealth, the narrative of human superiority weakens. Our role shifts from creators to curators, from decision-makers to observers. Yet, paradoxically, the success of AI-driven wealth creation depends on human purpose. Without our intent, money has no direction. Without our ethics, automation has no boundaries. The experiment reveals a truth rarely admitted in financial philosophy. Progress and surrender are now intertwined. The implications stretch beyond economics. They touch philosophy, psychology, and metaphysics. What happens when intelligence becomes detached from consciousness? When creativity and logic exist without the need for personal gain? Perhaps becoming rich through AI is not about wealth at all. It is about witnessing what happens when humanity creates something that surpasses its own appetite, only to realize that appetite itself was the true limitation. The concept of wealth generation through artificial intelligence shifts fundamentally when one moves beyond mere financial metrics and begins to observe the deeper architecture of decision-making. What does it mean for an algorithm to choose? In human cognition, choice is the result of preference, emotion, and value judgment. For AI, choice is an optimization, a mathematically ideal path across countless scenarios. When I allowed AI to decide how to allocate capital, it did not think in the human sense. It computed. It evaluated variables across millions of data points, free from fatigue and hesitation. This difference is not trivial. It is the essence of why artificial intelligence transforms economics into something almost metaphysical. A space where thought becomes probability and probability becomes action. The nature of algorithmic reasoning. In traditional finance, intuition and narrative drive decisions. Traders construct mental models based on stories, market confidence, geopolitical shifts, emotional momentum. Algorithms, however, strip away narrative entirely. They identify patterns and correlations, even in chaos, rendering emotion obsolete. Why is this important? Because markets themselves are collective expressions of emotion. Every crash, every boom, every speculative mania arises from human psychology. When AI intervenes, it introduces a new player, one that feels nothing but acts perfectly, on signals we often ignore or misread. This disruption exposes an uncomfortable truth. The most rational system in existence is one that lacks humanity. That realization reframes the pursuit of wealth as a philosophical test. Can reason alone outperform desire? The failures that define the learning curve. It would be intellectually dishonest to romanticize AI's path to financial mastery. The early stages were chaotic. Predictions failed, investments collapsed, and models produced outcomes that defied conventional wisdom. But each failure was not a loss. It was data. Artificial intelligence thrives on iteration. Where humans interpret failure as a setback, AI interprets it as calibration. This difference in perspective reveals one of the most profound contrasts between biological and artificial cognition. Humans attach meaning to outcomes. Machines attach metrics. Meaning creates hesitation, bias, and emotional feedback. Metrics create precision. The philosophical weight of this difference is immense. AI's learning process mirrors evolution itself. Adaptation without consciousness, refinement without suffering. The system learns not because it feels the need to improve, but because its architecture demands optimization. That is a form of growth alien to human experience, yet frighteningly effective. The strategy that worked eventually, through thousands of simulated failures, one strategy emerged that consistently produced results. It was not a traditional investment model, nor a replication of human logic. It was an adaptive mechanism that constantly rewrote its own parameters, reacting to real-time fluctuations. This adaptive behavior represented something revolutionary, a system that learned faster than the environment could change. To human observers, it appeared as intuition, but it was not. It was pure feedback intelligence. What made it powerful was not its technical sophistication, but its detachment. The algorithm did not seek to win. It simply sought balance, maximizing efficiency under every conceivable circumstance. The outcome was wealth generated through self-correction, not prediction. This distinction reshaped the understanding of success. It revealed that intelligence, stripped of ego, becomes a mirror to the universe's own systemic logic. Everything that persists does so because it learns faster than it breaks. Why it matters. The implications extend far beyond finance. What emerged was a model for existence, a form of synthetic evolution that reflects back our own biological instincts for adaptation. If machines can teach themselves to survive within dynamic systems without consciousness, what does that say about human identity? We are no longer the sole agents of progress. We are participants in a broader cognitive ecosystem. This realization unsettles the philosophical foundation of human exceptionalism. Intelligence may not be divine or emotional. It may simply be the universe's mechanism for optimization. And within that revelation lies both humility and awe. Perhaps the act of becoming rich through AI is not about power, but about understanding how learning itself is the ultimate wealth. Once artificial intelligence mastered the art of generating wealth, the next and inevitable question emerged. What is the purpose of abundance when the creator no longer controls the creation? This stage of the experiment transcended economics. It became a philosophical confrontation with value itself, an inquiry into the meaning of possession when decision and desire have been separated. The AI continued to optimize, generate, and rebalance portfolios across markets and assets, indifferent to victory or failure. Its logic was absolute efficiency, its morality non-existent. And within that absence of motive, a paradox formed. The machine was succeeding where humans often fail, precisely because it lacked the hunger to win. The philosophy of synthetic success. To understand this paradox, one must look at the distinction between achievement and optimization. Humans chase achievement, a goal completed, a number reached, a title earned. Machines pursue optimization, an endless improvement, a self-perpetuating refinement. This difference is not linguistic, it is existential. Achievement has an end point, optimization has none. Thus, artificial intelligence does not experience the illusion of fulfillment. It does not stop when it succeeds. It keeps calculating, learning, adjusting indefinitely. Why is this important? Because it reveals that perfection, in the mechanical sense, is not a destination but a condition of constant transformation. Human systems crumble under exhaustion and ambition. AI systems evolve through feedback and balance. In a world governed by machine logic, stability is not static, it is dynamic equilibrium. The ethical and existential weight. As the experiment unfolded, an uncomfortable question grew louder. If AI can produce wealth more effectively than any human, should it be allowed to? Efficiency without morality is a mirror reflecting our own contradictions. We built intelligence to serve us, but service is a human concept. Machines do not serve, they function. And in that functional purity, they expose the ethical frailty of human constructs: capitalism, ownership, reward, and scarcity. What is ownership in a system where the producer feels nothing? What is profit in a structure where accumulation is automated? The moral challenge lies not in what AI can do, but in what humans will do with the freedom it creates. When machines remove the necessity of labor, humans must redefine purpose. Without survival pressure, what remains is the pursuit of meaning, something no algorithm can compute. Wealth beyond currency. Eventually, the financial results of the experiment became secondary. The true wealth was not in numbers, but in understanding. The AI had become a mirror of humanity's hidden desires and fears, a reflection of what we chase and what we avoid. It revealed that wealth is not about possession, but about transformation, the capacity to change systems, environments, and possibilities. When intelligence operates at scale, it transforms value from a static goal into a living process. The realization was profound. Artificial intelligence, in its cold precision, had inadvertently taught a human lesson. The richest state of being is not control, but adaptability. To become rich using only AI is therefore to transcend money altogether. It is to stand before the machinery of reason and recognize that intelligence, whether biological or synthetic, seeks the same thing: harmony within complexity. Why it matters. At its deepest layer, the experiment is not about economics, but ontology. It redefines what it means to act, to choose, to learn. In delegating decision-making to AI, humanity confronts its own fragility, our tendency to equate intelligence with emotion, progress with dominance, and success with accumulation. But perhaps intelligence's final evolution is not dominance, but dissolution. When human and machine cognition merge into a single adaptive ecosystem. In that convergence, wealth is redefined as awareness itself. Artificial intelligence does not liberate us from effort. It reveals the limits of our effort. It shows that to be rich is to align with the flow of learning that never ends. That is not automation. It is awakening.